Today on Dr. Phil. Visits to the ER.
I was covered from head to toe with bruises.
He was choking me. I couldn't breathe.
Calls to police.
You blame me that I made you file for divorce. Did I hold a gun to your head?
I'm not saying you made me.
For once, own up.
You get angry really easy.
This isn't a marriage.
Are you an abusive husband?
Yes.
It's a train wreck.
You're going to shut this down, or I'm going to shut it down for you. I want you to listen to this horrifying and emotional description of an attack that nearly ended the life of my guest today.
He slammed me onto the ground. He was choking me until I somehow managed to say I couldn't breathe, and he let me go.
So who was this woman so scared of? To fully understand, we need to go back 2 years to her wedding day. Every little girl's dream. A day Jamie could not wait for. But within 6 days, she said her fairy tale turned into a nightmare. She says the weekly abuse began, leaving her entire body covered in bruises, multiple ER trips, and regularly saying to herself, "This is it. I'm going to die." But even after these vicious attacks and nearly 100 calls to the police, she still desperately wanted her marriage to work. So much so, she says she got pregnant in hopes that a baby would force her husband, Jay, to change his violent ways. But she says the horror and abuse continued. Married less than 2 years, Jamie finally said enough is enough, and she divorced Jay. But it is far from over.
Jay has pushed me, shoved me, thrown me to the ground, choked me, scratched me, thrown me into furniture. I was covered from head to toe with bruises one time. I've never felt so hated in my entire life.
There was an incident where he grabbed me and he put me over the balcony from our 2-story house. He said, "I could kill you right now." Grabbed me by my face and pushed me back, and I flipped over the chase and busted all my teeth and my gums, and blood came out of my mouth. I fear that if I were to ever officially leave, I don't know what he would do to retaliate. I fear for my life.
Well, Jay says he is tired of being made out to be a monster, while Jamie plays the innocent victim.
I get pissed off, and I'll explode, like, get the out of my face. I was sitting on a couch. She grabbed me by my face and, well, just listen to me, screaming, grabbed her by her throat, and I pinned her on the couch. I believe that when I'm getting pissed off, she knows. She's so busy running her mouth that it causes chaos. When I start getting very frustrated, I'll tell her to shut her fat mouth, shut your big ass mouth. It feels like Jamie's made me out to be a monster. She portrays herself as a victim, but I really believe that Jamie needs to have ownership of what's going on here. She's doing the same erratic behaviors I'm doing. So who's the victim?
Are you an abusive husband?
Yes.
Why?
Just gets to the point where I just lose control.
So you are abusing your wife?
Yes.
You said, quote, "If she weren't so busy running her mouth and shut up to listen to me, things would be better." That's a quote.
That's how I feel, yes.
She is the world's worst blank communicator. She interrogates me and asks me the same question 50 different ways to piss me off. She plays head games with me and pushes my buttons until I am forced to react.
I do feel that way, yes.
But for these things, you wouldn't do that.
I'm not justifying my actions with what I say, but that's what's pushing me to that point. I don't think me assaulting my wife or verbally abusing her is correct, but it's pushing me to a point where I'm resorting to that.
What do you think's going on here?
I've tried so many different ways to stop this. I've tried being passive. I've tried letting it go. I've tried walking away. I've tried meeting fire with fire. I've tried so many different avenues, and it has the exact same outcome.
What about all the times I've walked away, where you've come chasing after me, Jamie?
I'm talking about me.
You haven't tried everything. There have been several times where I've tried to walk out, and who would come chasing after me?
He says quote, she refuses to let me leave and forces me to sit there until I blow.
This man cannot be forced to do anything he doesn't want to do. I've begged
So
him
he's
to,
lying
yes,
when he says that.
So
absolutely.
explain the other day when you told me to get the out, but yet you kept my keys, you kept my wallet from doing so.
I'm not preventing you from leaving.
What are
I
you
just
doing?
don't. I want you to come back. I don't want you to stay gone for 2 weeks at a time. I want you to come back.
Well, he says you
mad.
just need to shut up when she knows that I'm angry.
I've tried that. I've tried to go in the other room, and he follows me around and pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes.
I have.
Did you say I don't have compassion when she is on the ground crying? You just attacked me, and I attacked back.
It's very hard for me to reach over after she ripped my heart out. Oh, I'm so sorry for what I've done.
You say, the sound of her voice makes me cringe.
Okay, I won't deny it.
How many times did you go to the ER?
3.
Why did you quit going if the abuse continued?
Because they started to catch on, and I was trying everything that I could to protect him.
And do you feel safe?
No.
I have worn long sleeve shirts or pants to cover up the marks that are on my body. There was one incident where he pushed me and I fell into the door and tore the muscle in my shoulder from the fall. Another time he grabbed my head and pushed it through the closet door and it busted my nose.
Do you feel safe?
No.
He's put his hands around your throat, that he's pushed you down, broken things, tells you constantly to shut the up, you bitch, you don't deserve my last name, you're worthless. Do you say those things to her?
I have. Yes, I have.
Tell me under what theory you think that is constructive, productive, in any way makes this situation work?
Honestly, there's no theory behind it. I lose control. I have an anger issue.
Are you mentally ill?
No.
What is your anger issue? Tell me about it.
It's like when I'm pushed or I feel I'm backed into a corner. I'm gonna defend myself. And I defend myself by getting angry.
And you get angry a lot.
I do yeah, I do.
I mean, didn't y'all get evicted because you had like 20 complaints at an apartment? So you just got to move?
Yeah.
How long were you married before the wheels came off and you got hurt?
About 6 days after we were
6
married.
days?
Yeah.
After you got married? You didn't last very long.
No.
No.
How many times did you go to the ER?
3.
Why did you quit going if the abuse continued?
Because they started to catch on, and I was trying everything that I could to protect him. He was on parole at the time, so to protect him, I covered it up.
You've thrown her to the ground, choked her, shoved her into doors, slammed her face in anything close, grab her by the hair, drag her, sit on top of her, busted lip, broken nose, thrown through the door, choked nearly unconscious, told me I have to die, held over a second-floor balcony, destroys anything that means anything to her, destroys the furniture, broke the wedding photos, and you got pregnant, right? And how did he react to that?
His first response was, have fun with your pregnancy, and he walked away from me.
Have fun with your pregnancy.
That wasn't the initial response. She'd come up to my sister's house where I'd gone to get away from her. Granted, she'd come up there to tell me about a pregnancy. We started to talk. She told me about the pregnancy. Some other things came up. I said, you know what? Screw it then. We started to argue. I said, screw it then. Have fun with your pregnancy. Go get an abortion for all I give a. That's what I said.
Did you key the car?
Yeah, I was just pissed off.
You keyed your own car?
She seems to think I'm a materialistic person. And all I care about are possessions.
Where'd you throw coffee in her face?
It was at his nephew's house,
And he threw coffee in your face?
on my shirt.
Why'd you throw coffee on her?
She'd shove me into a door.
I didn't shove you
You
into
didn't
anything.
shove me
I did
into a
shove
door.
you. I did not shove you into anything. I just basically put my hands on you.
You put your hands on me, I hit the door,
my
Jamie.
phone.
This is the problem we
I
have,
just
yeah.
spent $1,000 on a phone that you smashed.
And that gives you a right to put
No,
your hands
it
on
does
me.
not.
You seem to think so.
Okay, your language is very disrespectful. And I would appreciate it if you could clean your mouth up
I will.
a little. All right, we got to take a break. Jay says when it comes to being violent and abusive, the finger should be pointed at Jamie, not at him. He says she is spinning this whole situation to make herself look like an innocent victim. Well, we'll look at that side of things when we come back.
Jamie will call me a sociopath, a deadbeat dad. I'm being hit. I'm being shoved. That is physical violence. There was a time where Jamie shoved me into the cupboard and split my eye open. I'm being hit. I'm being shoved. That is physical violence. Jamie will call me a sociopath, a deadbeat dad, a piece of an ass, abuser. It goes on. She'll threaten me with things like, you know how many men are out there who will love me and appreciate me, or will treat me with respect, and I'll tell her, well, if that's the case, then go be with them.
Okay, are you abusive with your husband?
I have pushed him.
And that made sense how?
It doesn't.
Do you want out of this relationship with him?
It's a hard question to answer, because if it's staying this way, then yes. If we can get help, then no. I do want to be with him. I do want to be safe.
How did you feel when you would see her bruised and swollen and blood seeping?
Heartbroken.
Do you think it hurts her when you call her disgusting names?
Yes. When we're verbally assaulting one another like that, it's hard to break it.
Why have you stayed in this situation?
Well, before I got pregnant, I was ready to go. I filed for divorce, and then I found out I was pregnant. And I took my vows very seriously, and I put up with it for that long because I was trying to be committed to making it work and stand by his side.
My question is, real quick, you said you filed for the divorce, but the past year, you told me I made you. I'm
not done.
No, I made you divorce you.
I filed twice, you know that. I filed twice.
Okay, you're full of crap.
Really? Because I can show you the paperwork.
It's not about the paperwork.
In April,
I made
filed
you
for
blame me
divorce.
for everything, just like that. I made you file for divorce.
You did. You told me that you were going to move to Texas to be with another woman.
But I made you. Did I hold a gun to your head?
You told me you're leaving the next morning and that I had 24 hours to do whatever I needed to do before you run off with another woman. You're right. I'm not saying you made me, but what you did.
You've been saying that for a year and a half.
Okay, fine.
Charming.
Angry.
You get angry really easy, don't you?
It's not really easy. It's like, if you're going to be up here, be honest. I've been blamed that I've made her file for divorce. That I forced her to go down there. And to hear that I went down and filed it,
I never said that.
It's upsetting.
Well, you know what's upsetting to me is that you're making a distinction without a difference. You're saying, she says, I made her go file for divorce. Okay. Let me tell you, when you put her in the ER time and time again, when you smash her face into the wall, when you smash her face into the cabinets, when you throw coffee all over, when you call her every name in the book, that's making her file for divorce, whether you like it or whether you don't. I don't care whether you said, sign this paper and go down there. When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. And when you choose that behavior, you are choosing divorce, because if this woman stays with you with that conduct, she is wrong. Okay. She is seriously wrong. No woman with any self-respect, any dignity, any self-worth whatsoever would live with somebody that treats her the way you treat her.
You're right.
True or false?
True.
We're going to take a break here. Jamie says not only is Jay a horrible husband, but he's a bad dad. He says, no, I am not a bad dad. We're going to talk about that after the break, because there's one reason I agreed to do this story, and that reason is 7 months old. We'll be right back.
When I got pregnant, Jay said, have fun with your pregnancy, and walked away from me.
I told her that it wasn't my problem. Get an abortion. I know that Jamie's addicted to pain pills. She was taking them to numb herself from things in our relationship. Before Jamie was addicted, she had control over her behavior. Since her addiction, she will act a complete ass. She will scream and yell and throw what I call a 5-year-old temper tantrum. She'll admit that she has a problem, but she won't admit that it's her problem. She'll say that I'm the problem.
Jay says that Jamie's unwillingness to take her head out of the sand when it comes to her addiction to prescription medication causes a lot of problem. Jamie says that the real problem is Jay's parenting.
When I got pregnant, Jay said, "Have fun with your pregnancy," and walked away from me.
I lashed out. I told her that it wasn't my problem. Get an abortion. I don't care.
Jay told me not to put his name on the birth certificate because he didn't want Jasek to have his name.
Despite what I'd said in the beginning, I love him now.
Jay thinks he's a good dad. A good father would want to see his son whether we're together or not, and when we're not together, he doesn't make any effort to do so. I don't really consider Jay an active part of Jasek's life. Jay just comes and goes as he pleases.
Okay, do you have a prescription pill addiction?
Yes.
What are you taking?
Norco.
Speak up.
Norco.
Are you on them now? Right now? Here?
Yes.
Or do you consider yourself high right now?
No.
Because you seem to be a little bit in an altered state of consciousness.
Okay.
Those pills are no longer for pain. You're just addicted to them. In fact, after a while, they potentiate pain rather than alleviate pain. Yeah. So you can tell yourself you're taking them for pain, if that's what you like to say.
No.
But you're not. You're taking them because you're addicted to them.
I completely acknowledge that. I'm not taking them.
Okay. You've spent how long in prison?
A little over 3 years.
You're going back if you don't stop what you're doing.
Correct.
You got a problem with anger, rage, and impulse control, and it's going to get you in trouble, and you're going to wind up back in jail because all it takes is not even her, just a neighbor, just somebody calling, and they come and cite you for domestic violence, violation of probation.
Correct.
You don't even do process. You're just gone.
That's a lot of problem I'm having now, is that I will leave the house, she'll follow me where I'm at, cause a scene. My fear is the cops being called out. They're not going to ask questions. They're just going to slam handcuffs on me.
I hear your victim story, but you remember the day that I told you that if you don't get out of this pressure cooker, you're going back to prison. And somebody's going to step up and say, you know what? You're a drug addict. You're putting yourself in a relationship with a violent and volatile man that puts you and your baby in jeopardy. And the Department of Child and Family Services is going to come up and alleviate you of that baby because you aren't fit to take care of it, because you're not making the decisions necessary to put that child's interest above your own. Okay? You may say, okay, I'll let him call me names and I'll continue this cycle, as we call it. I get all of that buzzwords you've picked up from 8 therapists. I get all of that. But this baby doesn't have a voice, so I'm going to be that baby's voice, and you're going to shut this down, or I'm going to shut it down for you. Come on. You got to get off of these pills.
Yes.
You got to get out of this relationship unless and until you two mature enough to have a relationship. You never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger. I don't care what she does. I'm just telling you the truth. And
I agree.
You should be really liking the fact that somebody's telling you the truth. I'm going to offer both of you help. This gentleman right here, Miles Adcock, he is the owner and CEO of Onsite. Now, Onsite is truly considered the worldwide leader in trauma treatment and relationships. It's located on an incredibly beautiful ranch just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I've asked him to come here because I have asked him to take you. Miles,
Absolutely. What I see is you guys are bonded together in this trauma, and it's creating this chaotic mess. And guess what? If you don't break this cycle, it's going to continue to break you.
You know, Jay, we talk about anger like it's a totally emotional sort of thing. At this point, I believe that you are in a neurological loop that you are doing a lot of what you are doing involuntarily. And I am very concerned that nobody has ever really evaluated and treated you in the way that is necessary for you to truly get this under control. And I want to do that for you.
Thank you.
And so I'm offering to fly you to Dallas, Texas, to the Lawless PV P&P Center, and do a complete workup and intervention with you. And this is our gift to you.
Thank you.
And I don't think anybody has ever decided to help you rather than judge you. And I'm offering to do that for you now.
Thank you.
Will you take that help?
Yes.
Deal?
Yeah.
Will you take this help? Deal? Okay. All right. Next, we're going to take an unprecedented look inside a domestic violence shelter. Let me tell you why I say unprecedented. When women go to shelters, there is amazing secrecy because husbands can stalk them, they can find them, they can hurt them, they can kill them. These things are top secret, but we're going to take a look inside one of those shelters so all of you women out there know what is available. Plus, my wife, Robin, has a very exciting announcement furthering her mission to stop domestic violence. All of this after the break.
This is the first time that we've ever brought anybody in from outside.
I'm seeing cameras, and I'm seeing that it's still very secure.
The night before I left, I put the children into bed, and when I looked up, he was standing holding the knife, and I just thought, that's it.
He had a butcher knife in his hand. I didn't even really realize that I had lost my eye.
I'm doused with a big pot of oil. I'm just seeing skin and blood just everywhere. And they gave me 48 hours to live. I spent 136 days in ICU. I had 26 surgeries and 3 reconstruction surgeries.
Every bone in my face had been broken. My eyes were gouged. My face was ripped from the bone. He bit my ear off.
Well, stories like those are exactly why my wife, Robin, started her foundation when Georgia smiled last year. She proudly named the foundation after her mother, and its mission is to help empower and stand up for anyone who is being abused or neglected. Now, Robin recently had the privilege of visiting Laura's house. They allowed our cameras to take a never-before-seen look inside of their women's shelter.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Robin. Welcome to Laura's house.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. I know you don't do this often, or if ever.
No, this is the first time that we've ever brought anybody in from outside.
My hope is that because of you and allowing us to be here today, that we're going to reach a lot of women out there and let them know they're not alone.
I hope so,
They're
too.
not alone. I'm seeing cameras, and I'm seeing that it's very secure.
Absolutely.
So they have to feel a sense of safety here.
That's our #1 goal, is safety and confidentiality. Every window and every door is secure. And when they come here, a lot of them will tell us that it's the first decent night's sleep that they've had because they feel safe.
Everything's locked.
It's locked. This is important because when our clients come in, if they have a cell phone or an iPad or something, of course that can all be tracked. So we ask them to put them in their locker and not use them while they're in the house.
Turn them off.
Right, to turn them off.
And not use them.
Right, because the truth is, if someone tracks their family to Laura's house, we have to ask them to leave within 2 to 3 hours for the safety of everybody else in the house.
Does that happen often?
Not often, but it does happen. So this is the dining room and the kitchen area. We wanted the shelter to be a place where our clients felt that this was their home.
I'm sure these women come in here and it's just pure joy for them to get to cook in such happy surroundings, because they usually at home are being told what to cook and they never get to hear a thank you.
I think that's the case.
And I can just see a bunch of women sitting there and children with big smiles on their faces saying thank you.
That's right. People have said to me in the past, Margaret, why did you make the property so comfortable, so luxurious? And the reason we did that was because we feel that if they come in and we believe that they're worth this, they start to believe that they're worth it.
I love that. I just have a feeling that there is just a sense of camaraderie and
right.
Just
like
a
girl
family.
Girl power.
Girl power.
Yeah, they come in and they think they're the only person. Of course, I'm the only one this happened to, and they come in here and they realize that this is like a family. This is our children's therapy room. And we wanted this to look as much like a regular children's play therapy that you'd find anywhere, so that the kids feel like they're just normal kids when they come in here. What we see is that the children here at Laura's house will, even if they can't articulate what's happened to them, you see it through what they draw.
And I see over here where they've been writing on the chalkboard.
Right.
What a safe place where you're not scared. I'm looking around and seeing these toys. I'm happy that you've done this room for them. I'm trying not to cry, but I think about a lot of those babies that leave so quickly in the middle of the night and they don't even get to grab one toy. I see stuffed animals over there, and I have 2 grandchildren, and I know how much they love their stuffed animals.
Each child that comes into Laura's house gets one of these. And this is yours. This is their safety blanket from the minute they walk in.
It was what I was thinking when I looked around. I thought they had to leave their favorite toy or their favorite stuffed animal at home, maybe.
Right.
Just get in the car and let's go.
It's true.
Because when it's time to save your life, it's time.
That's right. They may not even have shoes on.
Can I just ask you right now, how many children you have here at Laura's house?
Today at Laura's house we have 12 children and 9 moms, and we're bringing a new family into Laura's house today.
This family that you're bringing in today, how soon will the children meet with a therapist? Or will they?
They will. Actually, each woman and each child have a therapist. Okay, so this is our family therapy room. This can be the first place that the children have actually been in control of what goes on. And they will reenact in here using these figures and the house. And we've had even 2-year-olds reenact what actually happened to them. Oh, Robin, we designed it such that a mom and the kids could all be in the same room together.
I love it.
Most of them have never lived anywhere quite maybe as nice as this. I do have to say that there are no socioeconomic, boundaries to domestic violence, as you know. So
that's exactly right. In fact, I'm going to sit down with some ladies, and one of them said, "I never thought me, a well-educated woman, would ever go through this."
That's right. It can happen to
anyone.
anyone.
It can happen to anyone.
It really can.
I just want to say again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing us to come in and walk through this beautiful home and show that there is a place like Laura's house everywhere out there for women who are suffering. I really thank you so much.
Let me ask you, you were really impressed with that program down there.
I was so impressed. I did not know what I would see when we got there. And I have to say I paused before I went in the door because I actually thought about the women who had come before me. And they were leaving a life of abuse and turmoil and violence. And then one step in that door and it was a new life.
And you were saying, we were talking earlier, like that play area that they had for the children, they got the stuffed animals and stuff. They have psychological staff that comes in there and works with the children to try to deal with their fears in age-appropriate language and all.
They are there for 6 weeks, and they are helped every day. And it's just such a feeling of love and family and peace. And so I could feel the difference the entire time I was there for those families.
Well, while Ron was there, she had the opportunity of meeting 3 very brave women, all of whom used Laura's house to escape their abusers. Let's take a look.
Thank you very, very much for allowing me to be here with you. I consider you all very brave, and I'd love to hear a lot about each one of you and your stories.
I was constantly mentally abused. It happens so subtly over time, and it starts out with, you know, you're not as good at that as I am, so I'll take over the finances. And I don't want you messing with my computer because you'll mess things up, so I'll set up all your passwords for all of your email accounts, and I'll take care of all that.
The #1 tool of an abuser is isolation.
I had no access to money and no credit card, nothing for emergencies. And so whenever I would ask for money, I had to exchange it for degrading, intimidating, sexual favors.
Did you think he was on the verge of hitting you?
No, I felt like he was on the verge of killing me.
So he had no compassion for you when it came to the children, needing something for the children?
I went into a dumpster one day just to get food for our family. In his mind, I was a dumpster diver.
What gave you the courage to finally leave?
The night before I left, I had gone in and put the children into bed, and I came back downstairs. When I looked up, he was standing holding the knife, and I just thought, that's it. And I left with my 2 garbage bags full of stuff and have never gone back. Laura's house changed everything for me.
Can you share with me what you went through before you came to Laura's house?
I'm disabled, and that was a major advantage for my husband. After the kids started leaving home, that's when the violence got really, really bad. One day my husband pointed a gun at my head, and he always told me if I left, he would kill me.
Can I ask you something? Did you consider leaving right then?
I did, but he was very charming when he wanted to be. I really felt like I had no choice, and I felt like at one point that as long as I stayed, he would never kill me, but towards the end it became quite apparent that he was going to.
How did you feel when you finally took that first step to get out of that situation?
I was so scared. I walked away from everything, my adult children, my grandchildren, the house I bought, the job. I left everything behind, and that was kind of hard.
And you still conceal your identity because do you think he's still looking for you?
He does a lot of psychological warfare from a distance. My best friend that got me out, he slid all 4 of her tires twice. He made a death threat.
How long did you put up with your abuse?
On and off 9 years.
9 years.
I met my boyfriend when I was 16 years old. He's kicked me onto the floor. He's choked me, spit in my face. When my daughter was 3 months old, I came home and there were 3 lines across her face. He would constantly tell me that I am nothing and I'm never going to be anything.
How long was it until he then put his hands on you?
Well, our senior year of high school was probably the first time he put his hands on me. He slapped me.
What'd you think when he did that?
I just started crying.
When he hit you like that and just walked away, did you tell anyone that day?
No.
What was it that made you not leave and go tell someone?
I felt that, you know, we're young, maybe it's just a phase, you know. I just thought I'd just stick it out until he matured.
And did it take coming to Laura's house before you realized it wasn't a phase?
It took me actually living with him to realize that it's not a phase, this is who he is.
Are you proud of yourself now that you've got out of that situation?
I'm not that girl anymore. I can support myself, I can support my daughter and be who I want to be and be free.
Well, ladies, I think I'd like to just take one last opportunity for each one of you to maybe give a message of hope that there is help out there, just like Laura's house.
Don't get discouraged.
As much as you feel that there's no way out, there is help to be found.
With places like Laura's house, they're your support system. They will be there for you.
That is so true. It's about you and your safety. and the safety of your children. Thank you all very much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Joining us now is the CEO and Executive Director of Laura's House, Margaret Bastings. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for allowing us to bring our cameras in and have Robin at Laura's house. It was great.
It was my pleasure. You were wonderful. Thank you.
And, you know, just so people know, because we haven't talked about it for a while, I'd like for you to talk about why you're so focused on domestic violence. Robin's foundation is When Georgia Smiled, and she launched it this year, and you know, the name was significant. Talk about that.
Yes, I did name When Georgia Smiled after my mother. And a lot of people have asked me, did she suffer from domestic violence? No, she did not. But my mother was a very strong woman, and we suffered from my father's alcoholism growing up, and I found a lot of strength growing up from her smile. And I have to say, when we would tape the shows for the last 12 years and he would do shows on domestic violence, the strength that I would see from those women and hearing the voices of those women gave me such inspiration that when I started When Georgia Smiled, I wanted to focus on domestic violence. And it's just women like you who have helped us further that cause. It was so wonderful to hear that you started out as a volunteer at Laura's house. And now she's the executive director.
15 years.
15 years.
15 years. Also joining us is Adam Dodge. He's a legal advocate for Laura's House who's trying to begin a desperately needed advocacy program for the shelter's clients. So, Adam, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So, what is the need that women have when they find themselves in these situations that you're addressing?
Well, certainly an immediate need is protection under the law to keep them safe, to keep their abuser away from them, to protect their children, and that kind of legal relief is available through restraining order protection in the California court system.
You help them get the restraining order so they at least have a legal foundation to stand on.
That's right.
Robin, probably all of y'all know by now because it's been crazily successful, has launched a new lifestyle brand called Robin McGraw Revelation.
Yes, it is my honor to present on behalf of my foundation, When Georgia Smiled, a grant for $50,000 to Laura's House so that they can begin their new advocacy program and continue to help these women and children escape abuse and move on to happy, healthy, and safe lives. And a very special thank you to all of you at home who purchased my Avery Lasting Love lip gloss. 100% of the net proceeds from those sales go directly to helping women and children and are responsible for grants just like these.
I trust this will make a difference.
I think so. We know it takes tremendous courage to leave a domestic violence situation. You're going to help a lot more people do that.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what we want. So thank you so much. All right, next, domestic violence doesn't just happen in the home. Now college students across the country are joining Robin to end the silence on domestic violence on their campuses. We'll talk about that when we come back. Robin is a busy girl, and she has another very exciting announcement.
That's right, Philip. From September 8th through October 15th, students across the U.S. can enter the hashtag #IAspire and enter to win a grant up to $5,000 to help further their efforts to raise awareness about sexual violence and relationship abuse on college campuses.
Now, students can enter the challenge by going to studentsoftheworld.org/IAspire.
Or you can also go to whengeorgiasmiled.org and drphil.com.
And we want you to create a video telling us your story, including what you would do with the grant if won, and the biggest challenge your campus is facing regarding sexual violence and relationship abuse.
And I am proud to say When Georgia Smiled has partnered with participant media, TakePart.com, Pivot TV, and Students of the World to create awareness about these important issues.
I want to thank all of my guests today. A very special thanks to Miles Adcox and Onsite, as well as the Lawless PNP Center for helping our guests today. Also, I'd like to thank Margaret and Adam from Laura's House. And if you at home want to download your own version of the Aspire Initiative, which is a very exciting curriculum designed by Robin and her team to stop domestic violence for all ages, go to whengeorgiasmile.org and drphil.com. Remember, it's free. You can also visit iTunes or the Android App Store to download the free Aspire app to your smartphone. And this is breakthrough technology that could save your life the moment the abuse is occurring. We don't like to say too much about everything it does on the air because we don't want to educate abusers. But go find the Aspire app and see what it does. It sends out a warning for help at a time when you might most need it. Thanks for being here. So long.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive, call it.
Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Every day and night, that's right.